Welcome to SciTech Culture with Steve Kern and Ben Warner, where we examine science, technology, and culture in the 21st century. Visit our website at scitechculture.com. Hello and welcome to SciTech Culture. My name is Ben Warner and I'm joined by my good friend and colleague Steve Kern. How are we today, Steve? It's Trump again. I mean, it seems like we can't avoid it, but it is like a slow-moving train wreck, so I guess we can't look away, can we?
Where is there to look except more Trump?
Yeah, that's right. And I mean, even just in the space of the past week, it feels like accelerated dog years or something. Like it feels like 2 years ago that he was, that Comey was fired, and now it's now progressed to the point where he is literally under investigation. And what is really, I think, astounding by all of this is that by watching the coverage and all of that, it would appear that he is doing this to himself more than anything else. The amount of times I've heard people get on and say, if he just shut up, didn't use Twitter, didn't make any comments whatsoever on that Russia thing, he would actually be fine and it probably would have gone away by now.
So I don't know. I look, as you say, maybe not train wreck, but certainly there's just a big, like a rock with a whole lot of momentum rolling down the hill. And I don't know. Is he in control of it? Because surely he could be quiet, but why does he speak up? Why does he keep on burying himself? I don't understand any of it.
Well, it's interesting. I came across an article in the Washington Post where it went to this question: why does he behave in such a dangerous and self-destructive manner? And it was done by a guy who actually spent a year sort of doing research for him for The Art of the Deal, obviously his favorite book, the greatest seller of all time and all that sort of thing. And it's interesting, this article, we won't go into all the specifics in it, but essentially it's a function of his character. It's everything is about winning and losing. And if he's going to win, he basically isn't satisfied unless he buries the other guy. And and he's saying that even though maybe what we're seeing now from a presidential point of view appears shocking or out of the ordinary or whatever, it's actually quite normal for Trump to be behaving this way. So if he gets questioned, if people start attacking him, he just comes back right out swinging. But the major difference here, of course, is that he's dealing in a place that is not going to be anywhere near as forgiving as, say, a civil lawsuit or a real estate deal. And it appears that he doesn't understand that they're not the same.
Well, that's right. I totally agree that he's just being himself and he's not putting this on. And this is probably, I guess, if you want transparency, this is how he does business. It's not pretty, but I guess, like you say, there's a win and there's a loser, and he tries to be a winner. And probably even when he's not a winner, he says he is, and that's all okay. I really have to say though that you just wonder if it's the modern age of media. If I take a few days off, I'm lost. I can't tell whether, Trump's being, targeted or whether he's putting his foot in it or digging himself deeper. And it actually takes quite a bit of effort then to read some articles, find some analysis and work out what's going on again. And invariably it turns out that he's on the bottom of the pack. Like he's starting the fights and then finishing them all at once. So it's unbelievable. But the amount of media, and especially that echo chamber, there's a lot of Trump haters out there. I think they're doing more of a disservice. It'd be better if people were quiet and we could just focus on the facts.
Well, I just find it interesting that, again, if he comes out swinging, he actually picked a fight with the intelligence community in the States right from the very beginning. Why would you even consider doing that, really? And isn't this just basic, human nature? You punch someone in the face, they're probably going to punch you right back if they can stand up, of course.
Well, I guess in business, it's a single transaction. You fight over a single issue. And in business, it's usually a price, or there's a dollar value, and you fight over that, or you fight over market share, or whatever it is to get a deal done. And then, effectively, once that's been done, there might be bad blood, but you're already on to the next deal and you're going through the process again. I think the thing about politics is there's a memory, there's a public record that's constant. And, like just because you get over one hurdle and move to the next, you haven't left the hurdle behind. I mean, effectively in politics, every decision you make or every altercation you have is one you carry then.
Yes.
That's the art of politics.
Well, I want to touch on Twitter in all of this because it's taking on a new dimension, especially in the past week, with now it seemingly official that he is now under investigation by the special counsel, and that it is now being reported that all of his tweets could be used as official statements on the record to be used against him. Now,
it's a publishing platform. We've all been, warned about that years before Trump.
But could this be the first time? This is the first real case where someone has their... Well, I mean, it has happened in the past where people have been, sort of brought up on the tweets they've posted, but it's tended to be more like, how could you say that? And then they were forced into an apology, and then that was it. But if this actually had some sort of, court action attached to it, that's taking it to a whole new level. That I think will be fascinating if that actually bore out in the longer term.
Well, yeah, I would like to see him under oath explain what covfefe is. Like, but no, you're right. Like, it's just, it's crazy. This is what I mean. This is not just, fake news, post-truth. It's now post-rules. And I wonder, I mean, he's got some pretty good legal backing behind him. I don't know can beat government, but still, I'm sure he'll have a crack. I mean, maybe we'll see, trolling on the internet or something else, like the whole definition of it changed. And, I don't know. Maybe you can plead temporary insanity for using Twitter.
Potentially. I am insane. Can he tweet that? And
I don't know. I think he single-handedly saved Twitter.
Oh, yeah. Well, for better or worse, I'm not sure. Yeah, and it's just, I mean, it's fascinating. And I think going forward, and maybe we can finish up here, is everyone's comparing this to Watergate, which because that's the only other precedent in which a president has skated towards being impeached, which is the only thing that can happen to a president, as all the coverage is saying. He can't be criminally indicted or criminally charged until he gets thrown out, and then he can be criminally charged. But the thing is, they've shown a lot of Nixon footage from back in the day. He just got tripped up on, I guess, a couple of sentences said on a tape. And when it was over, he basically went. He said, all right, well, we're done. This can't continue. And he did make the decision to resign and leave. And, good for him that, his successor pardoned him. I'm sure that wasn't sorted out beforehand. But what I think is different in this case is that there potentially, depends on whether they find anything, but there's potentially could be a lot more than just a couple of lines on a tape in this instance. But the other thing is that he's not going to go quietly. And that's where I think it's going to become really interesting to see how they handle it, because if he'll go to war against the establishment on this. Unless it's sort of
he won't win.
Yeah, no, he won't win. But until they have like real black and white concrete evidence that they can show him and say, all right, it's over, mate. We've got you. He's not going to go quietly, because the other thing is these people that have been sort of tracking him and about how he does things. He will fight right up until the end. And then if it's absolutely clear he's not going to win, then he'll just all of a sudden back off and say, all right, how much do you want? But
Yeah, well, that's
the
the art of the deal.
but the thing,
It's
but the thing is, against federal prosecutors and Congress, he's not going to be able to get away with that.
no. Look, he definitely won't. But it's really interesting. I think the media itself this time, if you compare it back to the Nixon days, is part of the reason he's able to maintain. I don't know. I wouldn't call it credibility, but he's able to maintain some sort of I don't know, support. I don't know, or enough confusion around his role, and I think that's what he's relying on. But you're right. I think once they show a Twitter transcript and link in all his speeches and that sort of thing, and that's played in isolation, I think that might be a little bit too much even for his juggernaut to stop.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Steve, we might wrap it up there. So, and we'll keep on checking in with Trump and see how it all goes, because it's a fascinating story.
All right. Sign of the time.
Absolutely. So don't forget our website, scitechculture.com. You can get all of our links and content there, and subscribe to all of our channels. We'd greatly appreciate it if you did. All right, so that's it for this episode. We'll catch you next time.